to pare back some of the losses that they saw earlier in the day, and you've already touched on the impact on the currency markets. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but it's certainly worth looking at how European markets will fare over the course of the day, and certainly what Asia did overnight. All eyes, of course, now on the US Open. Well, Kathleen Brooks is with me. She's from City Index. Kathleen, good morning. So we're looking at the numbers here, a lot of volatility on the markets. Is this just a knee-jerk reaction or part of a wider correction as markets digest what they've heard this morning?
I mean, you know, it's a historic move, and we don't often see historic moves. It's once in a generation, particularly in sterling. But on the equity markets, we won't see volatility at the level that we have done over the last few hours. But we do think that all the uncertainty, markets hate uncertainty. So you've got that on the one side, on one hand weighing on them. On the other hand, though, you have had Mark Carney come out and say they'll do pretty much whatever it takes to prop up the UK economy. We've had, you know, similar sentiments from the ECB, and we probably will hear from the Federal Reserve in the US too. So that's good news for markets. Markets do like it when the central banks step in.
Two things that strike me here. We're actually back above that 6,000 level. It fell below that last week amid all that debate and all the suggestion that the Leave campaign was actually faring better in the polls. But also, it strikes me the uncertainty is just beginning now. We were all looking at today as being the day when we got an answer, in or out, but now really the uncertainty actually really begins.
I think that's completely right. We did get our answer today, and there are going to be other periods where the questions are going to be uncomfortable for the markets. We haven't heard that much from the FTSE 100 CEOs that we heard from before. In fact, if anything, they're downplaying some of the doomsday scenarios. But I think that I think it's right to say that there's going to be very uncomfortable times for equity traders going forward.
It's a blunt question, but why does any of this matter? Does it matter in the real world what the markets think about today's result?
I think it does if it means that we're going to have a sustained downtrend. Remember, the FTSE and other European markets make up a huge chunk of our pensions, so all of us are actually worse off today. Added to that, obviously, the moves in the sterling market that will affect the value of our pension as well. So from that's a big point. Also, you know, if you own stocks in countries abroad, you know, that's good in some ways because you'll be earning more in any foreign currency that you own. But likely, if you need to spend pounds abroad, that's become a lot more expensive.
And on that issue of certainty or uncertainty, what is it that markets, what investors will want to see now? What is the one thing that can bring them any certainty?
It's going to be some sort of political roadmap. We haven't seen that yet, and that's what everyone's going to be looking for. That's why all these speeches today are so important. But it's going to be speeches over a number of years, a number of months for sure.
OK, Kathleen, good stuff. More from you a little later. So we're going to stay here all day. We'll keep a very close eye on how markets fare over the course of the day. A lot of volatility, a lot of turbulence. They're trying to find some sort of certainty. Whether they'll get that, of course, is the next big question. Back to you.
Ben Thompson, thank you very much indeed. As Ben was talking about there, the DAX, the market in Germany, is down around about 6–7%. The euro has taken a hit against the dollar. Germany obviously very disappointed about the result of the referendum. Let's cross live now to our correspondent there, Tanya Beckett, who is in Frankfurt. Tanya, what's the reaction been where you are this morning?
Well, right behind me, of course, the financial centre of Germany, Frankfurt, and those tall buildings of Commerzbank, Deutsche Bank, these massive European banks, now having to absorb the impact of a Brexit vote. Now, as you rightly pointed out, the DAX has been fairly adversely affected. Why might that be the case, and what is the reaction in Germany, and can indeed Frankfurt benefit? With me now is Hubertus Witt, who is from Frankfurt Main Finance. You represent, of course, these banks behind us in Frankfurt. Why do you think the DAX has been so adversely hit?
Well, obviously, the market got wrong-footed. If you look at the last couple of days, the market was really relaxed. The pound went up, the stock market indices went up, and the market obviously put too much trust into the bookies, got completely wrong-footed, and has to correct today.
Now, the response in Frankfurt, I've hinted that Frankfurt indeed could potentially benefit from this Brexit vote.
Well, before we talk about the benefits, let us really say that we honestly regret the decision. Why? Because it's a bad decision for Germany, it's a bad decision for the UK, and it's a particularly bad decision for the EU.
Why is it a bad decision for Germany?
Well, the German exports will be hit, and also the European idea will be severely hit, and we believe that in a common union we would have much more ability to develop our common market as well as making the European voice heard in the world.
In the context, though, as Frankfurt as a financial centre, there are certain things which must happen now that Britain has decided not to be part of the EU.
Well, first of all, we will see negotiations. We will see 2, probably even more years of negotiations. During that time, there will be a time of insecurity. Insecurity is a period where people put back investment decisions. So that would be bad, also for all participants. What needs to be done is basically 4 issues. The first of all, the European Banking Authority already signaled very clearly that it intends to move away from London, naturally. Frankfurt, hopefully, would be a beneficiary of that. Secondly, what you see is 40% of the financial institutions, according to a questionnaire as a City UK, are in London because of the access to the European Union.
Yeah, and that will change.
That will change, and they will have to rethink.
Let me ask you about the European Central Bank. That's a bit further down the river, the headquarters there, but a statement from the European Central Bank saying that it was